I've been playing a lot of Dead Space Remake. I love it. One of the things that I love about it that doesn't get a lot of talk because it's kind of hard to show, but it's a big part of the game and one of the reasons I think it's just so fantastic. So the game is linear for the most part. If you wanted to just kind of go A to B to C all the way to the end, you could do that probably if you were a good player. In typical survival horror fashion, of course, you're able to backtrack and explore to places that you don't have to go necessarily in order to find resources and abilities that will allow you to advance easier through the linear path. So it's this linear road, but what's great about it is the freedom the game gives you to solve things and achieve things within that linear space. And it's a real breath of fresh air these days because most games lately, it's like, here's all this freedom to explore, freedom to craft weapons, and sometimes it comes together magically like Elden Ring, but a lot of times it just feels like a lot of busy work. And it's like, well, yeah, there's a lot of immersion via the open space, but there's not a lot of play immersion. It just kind of feels, at least to me, like I'm going through these motions and collectathons and all the stuff a lot of people, rightly so in my opinion, complain about. Dead Space gives you a lot more freedom within the linear path, which to me is a better design choice because at least right now, this will change, but at least right now, you're not going to get a procedurally generated level design or narrative level design that is compelling when you're either stretching yourself really thin by making a huge open world or letting the AI take care of it right now. It'll change, but right now that's where we're at. So you get the handcrafted quality design, but then you get this open world freedom. Now, this is nothing brand new, but where Dead Space takes it a little bit farther, I'll show you this. They give you enough tools, more tools than I think I've noticed in most survival horror games, that you really can sandbox it on that linear path, right? Here's a good example. I was struggling a little bit with this monster. He's easier to kill when you get behind him. I was having a hard time doing that. So I says, well, let me get one of these stasis canisters. Let me get one of these explosive canisters. And I'm like, I wonder if I can bring those downstairs. And lo and behold, I put them on the elevator. It just works. You bring it downstairs. You position them just right. And then you summon the monster and he's a much easier guy to kill. Well, I know what I'm saying is not like, oh my God, that's revolutionary game design. It's not, of course, but when it appears, especially in a flow like a more linear path game like a Dead Space, it really does feel super immersive and super rewarding. Here's another case, same room. I'd been exploring. I found this little corner with these canisters, and these guys are pretty tough, especially when you're in 0G, because they can kind of leap through the air and ram into you and do a lot of damage. So I intentionally just, instead of carrying these around, because you can't carry stuff with your telekinesis or stasis or whatever the fuck it's called when you're flying. I mean, you can, but then when you aim, it drops it. I intentionally led them over to the corner where I knew these canisters were and detonated them. And as you can see, instant death for those guys. So, it's not anything that you would read in a design document at a moment-to-moment design level, like we're going to have 2 canisters here and this is how the player's going to approach it. You have no idea. The designers have no idea if I was going to do that. Some people who put more effort into just really powering up a certain weapon, that's how they're going to basically choose to solve the situation. And again, it's not the concept of, oh, look at the freedom, approach the puzzle or the challenge however you want, that's so revolutionary or so addictive or so fantastic in this game. It's that when you take that and it's as robust as it is here, and I don't want to oversell it, it's not like you can do anything, but it's more robust than like Resident Evil 2 Remake or 3 Remake, right? It's probably the most robust sandbox set of tools in survival horror that's linear. When you take that and you merge it with a more handcrafted linear narrative experience, it feels just great. And we don't see enough of it in games. And I love that about this game. There's a lot to love about Dead Space Remake. This is one of the big things. So I hope you're giving it a play right now, or if not, I hope you're considering playing in the future because it's one of the best games of the year. It is fantastic. By the way, real quick, because I know someone's going to mention this. Yes, there are lots of games these days that let you put RPG points into various abilities, whether it's your stealth or weapons or combat or, whatever. You see it in everything. Ghost of Tsushima and God of War, Assassin's Creed. But again, the main difference here, at least to me, is that the freedom is not just coming from this sort of mathematical grouping of numbers that you have decided the way you want your character to play. It's coming from the level design and scenario design, along with the more traditional level up your character and your weapons based on how you want to play. And it's the level design and the scenario design that is sandboxy that actually makes this game feel a lot different than those previously mentioned games.